Hey, you there. Just wanted to let you know you are now listening to the AK Mindset Podcast.
Yo, what's going on, people? Daniel or Choco here, and I'm here to bring you a Shadows House discussion. And we used to do these types of styles videos like say a year ago, and we're trying to bring them back. So today I've got two guests with me, two esteemed guests, and I'm just gonna go down the list. But first, I wanna welcome Sky to the channel. Say hello to the people, Sky.
Hello.
Sky is an esteemed member of Kate's House, and the founder of Kate's House is also with us today. Satsuki the Savage, friend of the podcast. Say hello to the people.
Salutations. What's good?
Yeah, so got together. We thought we all read this wonderful series, and I don't really see much discussion about it, so I just have to do it myself. So yeah, we're here, and we're here to talk about Shadows House. Manga spoilers as well, so if you have not read the manga or if you've not watched, then this probably isn't the video for you. But let's just get straight into it. So the first topic is first impressions of the series. So how did you find the series? What was your initial thoughts? And I will go to Sky first for his first impressions.
I think Satsuki recommended me this manga, so I didn't have any expectation for the first chapters. But Emily Q and Kate both won me. Were later in the debut. It made me love this manga. It's a very good mystery manga.
Okay.
Wait a minute, hold on. I got an issue with what Scott just said. I got a big issue.
Uh-oh.
He said he had no expectations. I recommended it to you. You should have expectations for greatness.
Ooh.
I don't like that. When Satsuki recommends something, at least expect it to be good. Let me Lord. At least expect it to be good.
I did read it.
Okay. But as for my first impressions with the series, it's funny how this is kind of like I got this recommendation for Choco, then Sky got the recommendation for me, so it's just that's how the thing roll. So yeah, I think Choco recommended to me this series 2 years ago on Twitter, because I was just randomly, I think I just asked for recommendations, and this was one of the series, because when I asked for the recommendations on Twitter, I was sort of being serious, but not really. I just wanted to see what people was recommending me. I didn't think I was actually going to read any of those series. And don't tell anybody, but I haven't read any of the other series. Shadows House has kind of happened, but I remember him recommending me that series, and at the time I wasn't even trying to go into it. I didn't even look into it really until last year or this year, I think. And my first impression with the series I wasn't too impressed by it. Just reading the first volume, I thought it was good, but it was just one of those things to where I didn't think it had a strong start as another series that we'll probably be talking about. But I saw good in it, and now how I stand with it is one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite ongoing series in general. So my opinion completely changed, but I think the first volume actually, the start of the series isn't a great way to grab you, but it still has good things in that to keep you intrigued.
Okay, that's an interesting perspectives, because I think I actually differ, because you guys came in through the manga. I actually watched it when it was airing as an anime, so I got a different entry point into the series. But first impressions, it's kind of strange because I just saw it on the anime website, and the key visual looked interesting, so I was like, okay, let me check it out. And I think the first thing that kind of stood out to me was the opening, because it didn't have any lyrics. It was kind of just mainly instrumental, heavy violin, and I was like, oh, this is quite, it's clean. And then the first episode, you've got this shadow and this girl who I'm not sure is a human and is kind of acting like a newborn, and she's just stumbling her way through life. And I was like, yeah, this is different from anything I'm watching this season. I need to stick with it. And I was like, I caught up to the 4 episodes that were out, and I was like, yeah, I'm in there. This is a very intriguing anime, and it's very distinct in this sea of shows that's coming out in the season.
I do want to add too, my first impression is kind of, because we all came in to Shadow's House differently, funny enough, because you say you came in through the anime, and of course me and Sky came through the manga, but even how me and Sky came into the manga was different, because at that time I already recommended Sky to read the manga desk version to get the colored manga, but I came in the first volume reading the like a untamed beast feral foaming at the mouth with the black and white scans. And I just think the color makes a big difference for this series, especially since our main character is Shadow. Like the contrast of the colors really it makes it pop more. So not to say that you can't enjoy the series in black and white, but I think it has to be red in color if you want the full experience.
Yeah, I think it was made in that mind. And the problem with it that the slow start makes the next few volumes even better, but it makes the manga a hard sell. That's why the anime and the manga doesn't get much discussion.
Yeah, that's fair. It's actually the black and white thing. That's actually the reason why I haven't actually bought any volumes, because I'm just like, I'm reading this in color. If I buy the volume, it's black and white, and I just, the passion, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, I feel that. If it was color, I already have the volumes up to only volume 4, because, man, translations are slow, but if it was colored, I would read the physicals too.
Yep, I would be there, but okay. I think Sky kind of touched on this point when he was talking about his first impressions, but moving on, talking about the hook, the catch point, if you would. When do you feel like the series had you and you were like, okay, I'm locked in for the long journey? And this time we'll go to Satsuki first.
Okay, so I think the premise in of itself is a good hook, but I would say because it's just like Scott was saying, like the mystery is very intriguing and engaging. But I think the moment where I looked at this series and I say, yeah, this is going to be one of my favorites is in the debut where Emmy saves Kate. That's probably the moment that stood out to me. And there's so many, it's hard to choose a very specific moment, because when you say moment, I like to be very, very direct as to what I'm talking about. I don't want to do this, like put a huge umbrella and just say the debut in general. It would have to be that moment, just because of the setup for it. That's probably the most vulnerable we've seen Kate. She was super scared, and it was like a huge contrast as to how she usually is, super confident, always knowing what she has to do. So that's the first time you see that side of Kate. And Emmy, throughout the entire debut, is like a ball of sunshine with the Midas touch. Everything she touches gold. She blessing everybody. Like, hey, Ricky, let me talk to you real quick. Let me save you. Let me put my hand on your shoulder. Hey, Lou. Every time she would talk to someone, she would brighten their day up. And then it was finally Kate's turn, because she was pretty much isolated, with the exception of John talking to her. Emmy came through, called her, used her clown skills for good. And yeah, it was just, I don't know. I was always intrigued with those two characters specifically, and that kind of just solidified their sisterly bond. which still persists to be one of the greater things in the series. So that was the big draw for me when it came to the series, and where I thought, yeah, this is probably going to be one of my favorites.
It's a great moment. Well, Sky, what about you?
I actually wrote Emilico saves Kate.
Oh, bitter.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, the same thing with the Satsuki. But overall, the debut showed me what the mangaka is capable of, because how the living puppets interact and care about their shadows, and the moment with Emily Koo made me legit understand that I do care about all these characters. It made me very intrigued. It's not mainly a hook, but it convinced me that I will not drop this manga, because I do want to go through it, because the characters were actually very good.
Yeah, I like that. That was nicely put. I think we all have the debut, as I feel that just shows how strong of the arc it is. But I guess for me, in the debut, it's kind of a bit after, but just after they've had the coffee and you first see grandfather and you see how all of them react, and you first see the brainwashing in full effect. And I feel like that moment, especially in the anime, had a lot of gravity to it. I felt the full force, where you're just looking at all these children just clapping mindlessly because grandfather put his hand out or something. I'm just like, what is this mystery? Like, what's going on? Like, I kind of got like the first big picture when I seen that moment, and you kind of see this whole like the machine, which is the Shadow's house, in full effect.
Yeah, I think it works so great too, because of specifically with Emmy and how she is, and seeing her complete with everybody else. It was kind of like, huh? But you didn't really know those characters all too well, so them clapping for grandfathers, it's just, it doesn't really catch you off guard. But when you see Emmy doing it, then it's like, wait, what is that?
Yeah, it was very shocking in the manga.
Big shock. You're just like, it's like, what's in that coffee, man? That coffee is something new, it's something different. But I guess we'll move on to the next topic, and this one, I don't know, it might be a long one or it might be a short one, but this is talking about another Shonen Jump series, one where Shadow's house has been put in the same vein due to the similar settings and characters. We're talking about Promised Neverland. Is it a fair comparison, and how do you feel when Shadow's house is compared to the Promised Neverland? And I'll go to Sky first.
I do not believe that it's a complete fair comparison, because we still have much to see in the Shadow House, and it can fumble. It's very good right now, but it can fumble. The first arc of the Promised Neverland was one of the best first arcs in Shonen, for me at least, in the recent decade. It was from the start to the end. The first arc was perfect, but it did not deliver in the next few arcs. The mystery fell flat, and it fizzled out, basically. But the Shadow House managed to up the stakes while keep the whole thing grounded. So we still do care about some small characters while we focus on the bigger plot.
That's fair. What about you, Satsuki?
Well, okay, so I think it's a fair comparison, because I think, well, first and foremost, everybody I've talked to that has read Shadow's House has made this comparison, and this wasn't even me trying to probe that out of them. people by their own volition compare the Promised Neverland to Shadow's House, and I think it's a valid comparison because of what Choco was saying with the setting and the characters. But to be like in more detail with that, you're focusing on kids. We have a female MC, and they live in a house, and you just get an eerie feeling from it. It's shrouded in mystery, and eventually we shift our focus into like liberating the house itself and saving all the kids from the danger that they aren't even aware of themselves. So I think with that alone, other series can fit that bill as well. But the Promised Neverland is. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I do understand that, but I mean, like, because Shadow House is very similar to the Promised Neverland. Basically, trapped kids who are used by monsters in basically a castle or like a school setting. But I mean, like, it's not fair to compare the whole manga of the Promised Neverland, because we saw the ending and it fell flat. So if we talk about the first few arcs at least, then I do believe that it's fair, just not the whole manga.
Oh yeah, I think when the comparison is made, I don't think people are talking about the entirety of the Promised Neverland. It's really just the Gracefield arc that draws that comparison, because like as of we are in the story with Shadow's House now, we haven't left this house, so it would have to do something like that to fully compare to the Promised Neverland, because we were only in the house for I don't know how many chapters exactly, but it was just that first arc. So I think when people make that comparison, it's just the beginnings of the Promised Neverland and not anything afterwards. Basically the golden age of the Promised Neverland. So I think it's fair in that art, or fair in that light.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I would agree. Because I was thinking about this, and I was like, because after I was like kind of similar to what you said, after the Gracefield arc, they're not really that similar, at least in terms of settings, because they're kind of going out into the world, and you know they're focused on escaping with all of them and them. Whereas Shadow's House has been focused in the Shadow's House, and we've only really briefly ventured outside, but not the actual main cast. So I was like, in that regard, yeah, I wouldn't really say it's a fair comparison. But in terms of like, if you want an easy way to explain the series, because obviously Promised Neverland is quite popular, you could use that as a reference point, because everyone knows about it, and I know they've probably at least watched the first arc before, you know, it may or may not have gone downhill. But yeah,
It's fair.
Yeah, this goes in different directions afterwards, I'd say.
Yeah, I also want to add, because God talked about like the Gracefield arc being, one of the strongest starts he's seen in the shonen, and I agree, it is a phenomenal arc. I would go out and say it's one of the best first arcs that you see in a manga. Not saying it's the best, but it's just a phenomenal arc.
It's one of the best, not the best.
Yeah, like it immediately grabs you, which is it's the contrast to Shadow's House to me.
Yeah.
Not a complete contrast, obviously, but it's like the classic example of a sprinter versus a marathon runner, because the Promised Neverland hit the ground running, did not look back, was smoking everybody. And it gets to the finish line, or what they think is the finish line, which is the first arc of the Gracefield arc. And then they stop running, they catch their breath, and then all you see is shadow. You see like this little dust cloud forming in the back of the Promised Neverland, the sprinter. You see this little dust cloud, and it's like, oh, they not that close. The next time they look up, Shadow's House is already like gassing them, and they can't catch back up. Because Shadow's House to me it's always been this slow build up to the mystery, and it's always kept that dangling in our faces as to what's going on with the grandfather, what's going on with the fusion. It has so many layers and so many things to look at, and the Promised Neverland kind of it revealed his hand early, and that's kind of why we loved it so much in the beginning, and also why it kind of faltered, because what made it great that wasn't present anymore later in the story. Whereas the Shadows House opted to go for this more slow build, and to this day we still are like coming up with theories as to what's going on with the series, and you know, it's just Shadows House did a better job of making quality throughout the manga rather than just in an arc.
Now go ahead, Sky.
Yeah, it's a common trope in classics, sci-fi, and other genres, where you got like a strong mystery, but once that mystery ends, you need to have a strong characters that can carry the story. Either that, or you end the story. You can't reveal your card and just continue with the story like that, because basically your hook has ended. You need to have something that keeps us intrigued and interested. The Shadow House did intentionally slow down the story so that we can build up Emiliku, we can build up Kate and the other side characters in the debut. That's why the debut felt like the hook for the most of us, because it was the place where most side characters shine in the manga. And right after the mystery was revealed, we started getting new characters that were built up. So basically, the Shadow House is running the long marathon, not a sprint. So eventually, even if we know every mystery in the Shadow House, we still have the characters that can carry the story later.
That's a good point to end on. So we're gonna move on to the last section in this first half before we, unleash the locks and go full into the manga. But we're just gonna end off with themes. So what are some of the themes that you've taken? Or I guess themes is kind of, I don't know. I don't really like that word, but I would just say, like, what are some of the things that you've, I guess, messages that you've taken away from this series? And I can go first for this one. So I think for me, the first one, and I think probably the most obvious one, is one of identity or self-image, because the shadows are a reflection of the living dolls, and it's all about how, I guess, the person sees themselves, and it's a lot about a lot of the personality of the living doll. You might see sides that is reflected in the shadow, which the living doll might show. And I think that's something that I find really interesting about Shadow's House, how it kind of explores this I guess theme, but it's not like in your face, but it's present, and if you're paying attention, you can see although the shadows and the living dolls might be like slightly different, they still have those similarities, and you have to remember, like, they are technically a reflection of the living doll. It's not the other way around. So yeah, I'll go to Satsuki next.
Okay, so, and this kind of ties into what you brought up, but something that I've kind of noticed is like these flipped power dynamics between who you would think is the master and servant. So in the beginning, we see the shadows. They have, it's still like this. The shadows have all the power when it comes to the living dolls. The living dolls are eating bread. They got them living in trap houses, trap rooms. They don't even get the houses, and they're living bad. They give them dingy clothes. It's terrible out there for them. But of course, the shadows are living in luxury, king size beds, frills everywhere, 5-course meals with the little leaf in the middle. And what you get from that relationship again is the shadows have the power over the living dolls, which we know them to be humans now. But later we find out that they are mimicking all of the emotions of, it's not the living dolls that are mimicking the emotions of the shadows, it's the shadows that's mimicking their emotions and actually reading them and learning from them. So the people that are thought to be lesser than them, they're actually they are actually the leeches when it comes to relationship and gaining all their experience from them. And that's just one example of it. I think this extends to even further back 50 years ago with the Mirror House and grandfather, because the Mirror House were these noblemen, and I don't know who the fuck the grandfather was, but I would assume that he wasn't a nobleman and he ran up and stole their stuff, and he flipped it on the head to where the noblemen like were displaced out of power, and now he's the one with all the power. And I think this is starting to show itself with the kids and adults, where you would think the kids don't have any power, but with this impending revolution, that may change as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the kids they're starting to rise up. That's another, I guess there's a theme of rebellion, or like underdog story, kind of coming up from low power to like more power but sky. I want to hear from you. What are some of the themes or things that you've taken away from the series?
Yeah, I want to comment on the name of the previous house, the Mirror House and the Shadow House. Both things that reflect the original person. I think that the manga is about the cycle of influence. So initially we saw in the flashback the original traits of the living dolls, and from that we understood that the shadows mimicked these traits. But I think that some of them exaggerate or like change these traits a little. Then these shadows influence how the living dolls act, like John with his shadow, and Patrick and Rick and Emily Q and Kate. They influence each other, and we see from the invasions, the invasion of the shadows to the Mirror House, because they kidnapped Shadow Fairy. Because I do remember a little shadow in a cage in the flashback. So they might have invaded the house to rescue that shadow. So I think that that basically the vicious cycle of influence, when someone does a bad thing to you, so you turn it back, and they do the same thing, basically a cycle. And we see how Emily Q, with her maybe naive but her strong belief that if you do good actions, no matter what, it will influence others to be better. And we see that in real life with Kate having stronger faith to the shadows and the living dolls, because Kate didn't initially trust that the other shadows help her that much, or that they are trustful. But Emily Q, with her actions which made me love her even more, and made me compare her to Luffy, broke the cycle. And we see how the other shadows are basically doing the same thing.
Okay. That was good thoughts. You see why I bought these members of Kate's house. You see, you're getting high quality right here. But any
that boy talking.
I'm telling you, he was spitting. This is why Kate's house. If you're not in there, bro, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you want to get into the Shadow's house, come to Kate's house. You're gonna get a great experience, and you're gonna come out more knowledgeable and in love with the series. So make sure you join Kate's house. I'm telling you, right?
One time, boy, we got coffee, we got snacks, we got everything.
Okay. Do we have any other themes that you wanted to highlight before we move on to I would say the more interesting stuff? No offense.
Nah, I think that's.
I mean, there is like a industrialism like a theme of industrial evolution and how it impacts people. Cause with the smoke and the charcoal, and when people moved to cities, and basically became less. I don't know how to describe it. Like the communities when the industrial revolution became less about emotions and more about working and getting paid, and working and getting paid, like a lowly cycle.
I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another one to add. But yes, we are moving on to some manga spoilers. So if you are anime only and you have watched as far, as time for you to either skip ahead or leave, we appreciate you watching. But just to start this section off, I thought we could talk about recent events. I guess you can choose your barometer for where you deem recent, but just to catch people up, if you have not remembered currently, all of the recent chapter 172, I believe, or 1, but we're just seeing that they're doing another debut. We've got 5 new living dolls who are currently undertaking this challenge, and Edward has switched things up again. I don't know how he gets away with this stuff. I don't know who the rat is who's giving him the information, but yeah, Edward's making things difficult, even though we try to plan for it, and it's gonna be more difficult than the previous one. But Satsuki, what's your thoughts on the current events right now?
So our whole thing is trying to save Luis right now, and honestly, I don't know where it's going to go if we're going to be successful in this. I do think we're going to be successful in something, because there's 2 things that we're focused on right now: is stopping this debut, or not stopping it, but stopping like the coffee influence, basically getting the kids before they're warped as other kids have been. So that's one of the missions, and it's also saving Luis. And I feel that one of them will fail, and I'm more so leaning towards Luis. Maybe not being, just because out of the main cast, as dark as this manga has gotten with some of the deaths that happen, we haven't had a death, in my opinion, that impacted us on that emotional level. And I think if they were to do it, I mean, Luis will be a good candidate, because hey, just don't listen. I got some untouchables. Do not touch Kate. Don't touch Emmy. Don't touch John. Don't touch Sean. That's my list. I love Luis. Listen. That's the debut goons. I like them. They my boys. They my girls. I like them. But hey, if they got to do something to shake things up, I'll sacrifice them. It's all right. We gotta have priorities,
Okay.
If you want to get hurt, you gotta hurt somebody that's close to you. They close to me, and I'll admit that, but they ain't untouchable. But that's just more so like that's not really based on anything. That's just my feeling that something great is going to emotionally affect us. But yeah, things aren't really looking good for her right now. I don't know if the fusion itself is going to happen, but I don't know about saving her completely right now, or what her emotions are when it comes to being an adult, or not an adult, but what's going on right now currently.
Yeah. So it's not looking good. I'm very worried, especially because I'm worried because they told us they gave us a lot of information about the plan, and anytime they give you information about the plan, it never works in anime. It never works. Every time I'm watching a show and they give me the plan, I'm like, don't tell me. I know it's gonna flop now. It literally every single time it flops. So yeah, it's not looking good, bruv. But Sky, let's hear from you, bro.
Yeah. First thing, I think Edward might be promoted to be one of my favorite top 20, top 15. That's not be crazy. Favorite antagonist, because he always has a good plan, like a realistic plan, and always knows how to react and switch up. I think the worst thing that might happen with this plan, that one of them goes successfully goes through the fusion and has to live with the thought that his living doll has died. I think that's worse than both of them dying. But I don't believe that would happen. I think that the plan will fail, but it will force Kate to move to the adult house. Maybe it will force her to shapeshift, because we did see that she can make shadows look like humans. She did that with Barbara. So can she do that with herself? Cover herself with salt and make herself look like a human. Maybe she will get to the adult house and the next saga will be there. But I have a question. What do you think if your grandfather dies?
Wait, what's the question?
What would happen if grandfather dies?
See, I've thought about that before. I'm not sure, because taking out a Shadow's house, I've always thought about what is going to happen with the thought of humans living with the Shadows. I feel that for there to be great tension in the series, that relationship has to be put in jeopardy. Like the very life of the Shadows has to be put in has to be a consequence of the Shadows house falling, which it falling would be with the grandfather's life. So if he dies, maybe it's a possibility that all Moors, or all beings that were Moors, all Shadows will just crumble. But I'm not, or maybe not crumble entirely, but they'll just revert back into Moors.
Yeah, we don't know where did the shadows or the moths came from, because it's still a mystery, and even adult shadows are prohibited from seeing that forest. But if you remember, the coffee that brainwashes these kids is the pursuit power of the grandfather. So if he dies, they can't brainwash more kids. Maybe someone has an ability to control them for a while, but no one else has a suit power that brainwashes humans like that.
Yeah.
So if he falls, the whole process goes down.
Yeah, that's a big point too, because they use his suit to even brainwash the people outside the house as well. So that will be a big thing if he actually is the boss. But I was thinking if he's actually even, obviously he's there, but I was wondering if he's actually like the mastermind or the leader of the house, because I'm still wondering if he's not just a figurehead, or he's actually like somebody who's competent and is planning this out. Because he is so much bigger than the other Shadows in terms of size. For what reason, I don't know, maybe just age. But then, it's easy to just make yourself look big and, not actually be a big person. So I just want to understand if he is actually a person or just a figurehead, because we have seen those types of leaderships in other series. So I wonder if it's going to be implemented in this one.
He might not be fused. Forgive me. He might be not fused, because the invasion happened decades ago. So he might be one of the first few shadows that attacked the mirror house. Maybe he hates humans so much that he decided not to fuse. Could be just a shadow.
Could be.
Okay.
You think they got him out there like King Fritz, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting the feeling. I don't know. That guy was just he was just sitting there. He was just sitting there.
I can't lie. He looked when I saw his face, I was like, yo, he's serious. He was asleep the whole time.
Hey man, did his job effectively because I was shook, but
oh man,
false alarm.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanna I'm just gonna talk about this one thing and then we can probably just move on. Because in the last arc we saw that Margaret was whiling, you know, like she got given the what do they call it in the boys, Compound X, and she was souped up.
yeah.
And yeah, we seen that Patrick, finally we understand. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because these two esteemed individuals were actually able to guess his ability before it was revealed, so that was very well done on the theory crafting side. But the thing that I wanted to mention is just Anthony and how he rattled me to my soul when I seen what he did to Margaret's living doll, and she did not deserve that, and I felt really bad for her.
Yeah, I feel like this was the product of a vicious cycle of violence, because I believe that Anthony let the hate control him and basically wants revenge on the house no matter what. So he's basically the opposite of Emiliku, in my opinion.
Yeah, the way, because we don't know Anthony's intentions, Anthony/Christopher. We don't know his intentions, but I would imagine it's to completely overthrow the Shadows House, just like Kate. But he's going to do it through more underhanded and less morally sound methods. That's the feeling I get from his character, because he's not completely evil, but because it feels like what he's doing has a purpose to it. It doesn't feel as if he's just doing it just for the lulz. He's just that's funny. But yeah, I think that's his whole purpose. And of course he's going to have to come to a confrontation with Kate, because these are two people who are working for the same thing in different ways, and yeah, they're similar in that regard. Just like how, you know, Christopher was the star bearer who was looked at as the pinnacle and the ultimate leader, Kate is becoming that in their own currently in the story. So they're both like prodigies that are eventually gonna cross paths again and settle that beef.
Definitely.
Kate and Seven though.
Oh, okay, big words from the rookie. Well, she's not a rookie anymore, you know, she's kind of established.
Yeah, sophomore season.
But speaking more on Anthony, he's a character which I actually really like. I don't know, he hasn't really been utilized that much in the story, but I really just like the presence of him as this third party wild card, I like to call him, because you don't really, we're kind of getting more information about what he's doing, but he's building his own faction that he's leading, because obviously he wants to take down the house in his way. But I just like his presence in the story. It kind of just injects something different from what we're seeing, because obviously we've got Kate clashing with the adults, but then we just got Anthony and he's just doing things that I don't even know. And obviously there's the question of whether he is actually Anthony or is he just Christopher pretending to be Anthony. That makes it, you know, that's another thing that could throw another spanner in the works. But yeah, he's a very good character in this story right now, and I enjoy him, although I don't enjoy what he does, because He's a bit too chaotic for my liking.
He's grimy for sure. So I want people to have the public stance right now. Is he Anthony? Is he fused? What's going on exactly?
You want to go first, Sky, or me?
You go.
Okay, all right then. Okay, I'm gonna just put my flag in the sand. I think he's Anthony. From what I've seen from the flashbacks, I believe Anthony was the one who was, I think Satsuki was talking about it earlier about the dynamics in the relationship and how it might seem like the living doll or that shadow is the leader. Anthony seems like more of the leader compared to Christopher. So I believe he is still alive, and Christopher, I don't know, just failed the fusion and he just ended up dying, and then Anthony's trying to get the get back. So that's what I'm going with. I've declared it.
Yeah, so I do believe that they fused, because I don't remember exactly, but did we see the result of a failed fusion?
Yeah.
Because
we've seen it before, yeah, with the twins.
Don't both of them die? The shadow and the living puppet?
They should. Yeah, they should.
I do believe that the fusion succeeded and it broke the Christopher, because he was more idyllic than anyone. So he basically did a 180 and basically wants to destroy everything. So I do believe that he fused.
See, I think you brought up a good point too, Sky, when you talked about how Louise fusing with Lou would actually be worse than them both dying, because they had to live with, because they're aware of what's going on. They would have to live with the thought that they are like masking as that other person. So I think it would still make sense. It both makes sense, but I think it would be a little more impactful if they were fused, and that's the reason specifically why he wants revenge, because he knows what's going on, and he resents the fact that Christopher's life had to be sacrificed for his own. And also I think that would put him in direct contrast with Kate, who we don't expect her to go through a fusion or anything like that. If she was put in that position, like Scott said, she'll probably use some little trickery here and there, maybe a shadow clone here. So I think, I don't know, I've always got the feeling that he was fused, because this series isn't exactly straightforward with how it presents things. It's a lot of bait and switch, and the feeling I got when we got the news that Christopher's dead was that, nah, you might be Christopher, dog. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so we got opposing sides. I'm on my island, but it'll be. I think the reveal will be good either way, because all the mysteries so far have delivered in terms of like when we get that revelation moment. Every time I feel like I've been satisfied. Kate's backstory, for one example, that was very satisfying. That was a very satisfying moment when we just got that. I just feel like it's always nice when you just get an explanation and it makes sense, and then it kind of just makes you like a character even more, because that's what I felt when I came out of reading that flashback. You like Kate, and then you respect the bond that she has with Emilico even more because of the history between them that we now know of.
For sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up the floor, and then if you guys have a topic related to the manga that you wanna voice out, I'll let you do that before we come to the final segment of the discussion. So who wants to go first?
I just want to say with the recent chapter, I really, what was her name again? I gotta look through to see her name. Matilda, when she was dancing. Oh my god! I said,
Yeah.
I'm getting the Mary Rose flashbacks. We got goofiness, we dancing, we jugging. And then her power, it's not exactly like hers, but it's reminiscent because she's also low in her shadow input or soot input. But she can, of course, like mold it and use it for her own ability, which I thought was pretty cool. So, shout out to them. I would really want them to be on the squad.
Yeah, we needed that in the manga. Basically, lifted up the mood for me.
Sure.
Definitely. What about you, Sky? Anything else?
I do want to explore for the manga to explore the island more. Maybe there are humans who are hiding in the island, but not affected with the suit power. And I like to see some outsiders who are not affected to come to the island. So we're not so the manga won't be just always about the house or like the shadows. Maybe we see how the outside world they act to basically some mythical creatures controlling humans.
Okay. That would actually be quite good because obviously they've got domination over this island, but I mean, we can't just assume that it's just this island in this world. There has to be other places, and then if people do come from the outside, that's gonna, it's gonna raise alarms with them because it's like, what's going on with all these people? But yeah, that will be very interesting indeed. Okay, now on to the last segment, which is favorites. It's a quick fire round. So we got 4 things I want to ask you guys. Your favorite fits. So who do you think, which shadow has the best outfit in the series? Who would you wear? Favorite moments. What was the moment which had you screaming, hyped, sad? You can say it all. Favorite shadow power. What power do you feel like is the best? And then finally, your favorite character. Obviously we have to pick our favorites. Some we like all the characters, actually some less than others, but we all have that one who is number one in our hearts. So yes, Sky, give us your 4. You can go in any order you want.
Okay, favorite fit, Edward.
It's me.
The favorite moment, Emily Q saving Kate. Cause while I was reading the manga, I was listening to a rock band called Stratoveus with their album Vision, and it made me so much excited for this moment. Favorite power, the most broken power, Kate. And favorite character, I'm sorry, but it is Barbie.
Oh, okay.
Why are you sorry?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people hate her. There's a lot of haters hate Barbie.
Really?
Okay.
I think characters within the series hate her, but I don't think nobody in Shadows or Kate's house at least hates her.
Okay. I like those. We'll unpack. But Satsuki, you're 4.
Oh man. Oh, the fit one is so listen. These fit. I said it to Choco. I said, yo, them Brits was cooking in that era, bro. Cause these fits are hard. Everybody got hard fits, man. With the exception, of course, like when they intentionally try to make them look poor with how they be treating with the dolls and the living dolls or living dolls, but. Oh man, this is actually hard. This is the hardest question I've ever got. I think Oh, Choco said this is a fit I wear. I would not wear this, by the way. I would not wear this personally, but I think it's a hard fit. I think Eileen's
No.
fit is hard.
Okay, yeah.
Eileen, I love the colors. It just fit with her pink hair. It just fits the cotton candy vibe I get from it. The heels is like this. She looks kind of like a bird with the outfit on. And since you said Edward was your favorite fit, we just gotta acknowledge his swad is clean.
Making noise, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. We the boys.
I hate to say it.
Like, you can say whatever you want about Edward. I know we don't like him, but his whole squad is just, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like the Espada. Like, you gotta admit they clean. Above all else, they clean.
Yeah, they are fitted. I don't know, like I don't know who was making their clothes, but they cooked, man. They cooked, man. And I hate it had to be Edward and his boys.
I need to, yeah. Who is the tailor? Who is the tailor for Shadow's house? That's the most important character in the series, man. But okay, so that's it for the fits. Favorite moment, man. Oh, man. Without a doubt, is the origin of Emmy's name, of Emily Cole's name, where we get that whole flashback and we see it comes from her surrogate mother. And because we got a clue as to that specifically, because I think it was when they were dancing, like when the debut was starting before they went into the garden or whatever. Kate talks about how she gave her the name Amelie Cole because she wanted her to be different and she had a secret to tell her, and we didn't know what this was. That wasn't revisited until this chapter, I believe, or I guess before, because we found out some things. But yeah, when she hugs Amelie Cole and then she says, "I'm so glad to meet you again," I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry. It was yeah, that is peak Shadow's house.
Yeah.
But favorite shadow power, this is also pretty tough. I would say my favorite one has to be Mary Rose's. I really like counter abilities. I like the fact that she isn't like inherently powerful, like John's power, for example, where it's just brute force. I like that she can use her surroundings to completely flip the tables onto people. I've always liked those abilities where it's more trickery than just immense power. So yeah, gotta go with her. And favorite character, come on, man. All hail to Kate Mirror. That's my GOAT. Kate Yagami, the greatest mastermind we have seen in recent years. Love her.
Detective Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a powerful four. Okay, I'm gonna go next. Low key, you took my moment, so I'll substitute with a different one. It's cool. But I love that moment, man. Like when I first read that, I think this was like after I finished the first season. I was just like, wow, I was just like, whoa, I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt completed. I was like, wow, this is different, but I don't know, it's just such a beautiful scene, just with them two hugging, and now you see, they have a different, I feel like they have a different relationship compared to the other pairs that we see in the series, which makes sense because they're the main couple. But right, favorite fits, I have to go, I mean, I said about wearing, I don't know if I'd wear this, but Mary Rose, I can't lie, I like her fit. It's clean, it's distinct, it kind of just, I feel like it embodies everything about her personality. Got that elegance to it, and exudes confidence, and I don't know, I really rate that fit. Obviously we got Edward, and I mean, I don't rate him, but that suit is cold. I can't lie. It's cold.
Yeah, it is.
But I did want to say one of the fits that I think is whack is you know that in the third floor, the guy with the monocle, that don that looks like a caterpillar, bruv. Whack.
Oh my god.
Whack,
Oh,
man.
no.
I was looking up the fits and what is this nonsense, man? Yeah, that fit is
Yeah.
awful.
I don't know what it looks like. He's wearing like 3 turtlenecks. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. But okay, favorite moment. I would say just after Kate gets saved by Miliko, when they're whizzing down the river and then they jump up and then she comes down with the angelic wings. Ooh, aura.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a great spread. Just the shock too with Edward. Like, he weren't supposed to do that. He wasn't supposed to flex on him that hard. Great.
I think a reason why I loved that moment, because I don't think Edward clocks that she could use soot. So he was just like, wait, what? You're not supposed to be able to do them things. But yeah, she stunted on them. She clocked the game early, way earlier than everyone else. So, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Shadow power. I'm the same as Satsuki. Rosemary. I just think I just love the equalizer, you know, because she's got low soot, but she can still, you know, compete with the big boys who've got high soot capability by turning their soot into scorches. So really, the high soot is actually working against them. So I just really like that, and I kind of like how she's kind of trained with that power, but also. And this is kind of just to do with shadow powers in general. I like how the adults are still they still have that advantage over the humans, which we saw when Rosemary tried to beef Edward and Edward kind of waxed her. But I just liked the you know, that distinction, which shows like this is why they're adults and this is why we're children. But Rosemary still serious, and her power is also the real deal.
Yep.
Okay, and then the favorite character. I got a lot of characters I like, but you know me. I'm an MC merchant, Emiliko, bundle of joy, and you know, every time she's on the page, you know, you just get filled with a lot of positive energy, and one of the driving forces of the series. She makes things move. She influences people, as Sky says, and you know, overall, a really wonderful character, and probably one of the best aspects of the series for me personally.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Well, yeah, it's she's one of those characters you had to praise. You can't praise Kate without praising Emiliko, because we talked, you know, Scott talked about the influences of the characters, and Emiliko's positive outlook is what saved Kate in the end, because we saw how she was before, like in the beginning of the series, where she was more cold towards her. And I think it was because that relationship she had with Emiliko before they went to the house was gone. So she had to kind of get her back into get back into being herself. Because again, that's the thing that saved her.
It does feel like Luffy to me. Because that passion, that faith, rekindles the faith in others.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Biggest spark plug.
yeah, 100%. She actually is. I mean, she got Ricky to change. No, Patrick to change. You know, instrumental in Rum's change as well. You know, she kind of got her to, you know, actually engage with her shadow, although it was too late. But you know, she still inspired that in I think her name's Ram, not Rum. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, so she is a spark plug. But this is cheating, low key. But I just wanted to mention Sarah. She's not someone I like, but Mia just is so tapped that she interests me. When I saw that, I think when Satsuki was doing his first read through, I said I was waiting for a certain paddle. I know he was just looking at me like, what's he talking about? And then when he posted it, I was like, yes, sir. Because Mia is just just a complex case of why I don't understand. Her shadow was like, okay, let me work with Kay, and she said, I need punishment. Let herself get beat so the shadow would resolve herself. I don't understand. My head is gone.
You forced her to beat her. It's like some people in the server. I'm not shaming.
Well, that kind of goes back to the whole thing I was saying with the flip dynamics of the master and the servant, because again, Mia would be the person that's supposed to be like submissive in the relationship, but she's actually the one who is influencing Sarah for the worst, or worst to best, depending on how you look at it, because it is making her stronger to be more equipped with the world, but yeah, kind of her mental state is put in jeopardy because of that too. So trade-offs. I don't understand how. I really don't understand why she does that. It really baffles me. What she said, I need discipline. I'm like, what are you talking about, Mia? And then that panel with the soot underneath her, I was like, okay, yeah, you're tapped, but you know, that actually just made you 10 times more interesting than you were. Okay, so we're coming to a close now. So we just got some final thoughts, whatever's on your mind. I guess to give you guys some direction, if you were to sell Shadow's House in a one speech, what would you tell the individual that you were recommending the series to? And I'll go to whoever feels inspired first. I'll leave it open. Got it. Because I've been having to do this for a minute. So listen, man, Shadow's House is one of those series that hits on all cylinders. It's not one faceted. It's not just the characters that make the series. It's the characters, the mystery, sometimes even the fights, the art, it being colored. There's a big boost to the series, big boom to the series. It has everything you would want for what, like, it utilizes the potential of the premise to the utmost, which is the most that you can ask for. There are a lot of premises that you'll see with the series, and you're always left wondering, I wish they would have did this. I wish they would have did that. And this series is ongoing, so it could disappoint in a lot of regards, but I will say from chapter 1 to chapter 172, I don't think there has ever been a singular bad chapter in Shadow's House. I'm not gassing the series. I don't think there was any chapter where I was like, oh yeah, this was whack. It from the jump, it is a quality series. It had a slow start, but I think once it hit its stride, it never looked back. So if you want a series that doesn't have peaks, as in it doesn't have any lows, Shadow's House. Consistent all the way throughout, quality, and it hits on all those cylinders. Just great series, man. If you're not on Shadow's House, hey, you're not living life.
Powerful. What about you, Sky? What have you got for the people?
Yeah, I want to follow on what Satsuki said. Like, I wish it did that. I wish they didn't do that. I know that the Shadow House is a very slow series. Like, until the debut, you might put it on pause. You might not read it to the end, but it does not disappoint. And the higher your expectations are, it will always surpass it. Because it took its time, it prepared everything, and it takes very much care to every aspect in the manga. The mystery, the lore, the characters, not even the main characters, the side characters, the one-note characters, the characters that you see them, just one time in one chapter, and you don't see them again, like the nurse guy. The mangaka does care, and they will always exceed your expectations. So I do believe that the Shadow House is worth reading.
Very well, nicely
Shout out to
put.
the mangaka, Somato. I don't think I've ever referenced him by name.
Is it confirmed him?
I don't know. I don't. You know. You know how they do it. You don't know anything about these mangaka.
That's a very interesting name, Samato.
He might be a shadow for all we know.
Ooh. Yeah.
We don't know nothing about cuz. No pictures, no gender, no wiki page.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I respect
because
it.
these fans do not joke around with these mangakas. They stalk them and harass them and all.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. They be wildin'. They be wildin'. But you see, you heard the emphatic thoughts of Satsuki and Sky there, which if you're still here and you're still watching, just overall show you why Shadow's House is a series to read, is the one to read right now. One of the best ongoing reads that I'm reading currently. You know, always enjoyable, even if I leave it to stack or reading it on the, I guess, not weekly basis, but when it comes out. And you got the bonus of color, you know, and that color, I'm telling you, really does make an impact when you're reading this series, especially because it's dealing with shadows. And the mind games, if you like mystery, I'm telling you, this is one of the few series that I'm reading that's got like a lot of ongoing mysteries. But I wouldn't say it's a thing where you're always asking questions. You do get answers, and we always have a plan which we're working towards. And I understand where we're going with this story, and I don't feel like the mangaka likes to waste time. They're doing their thing, and they're doing it to a high standard, and I only have positive things to say. So read Shadow's House. If you don't, watch the anime or do whatever you want, but I mean, just hop on the series, blood.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
AMG.
All right, AMG, if you're listening, we're talking to you, brother. But, okay. I'd like to thank Satsuki and Sky for joining me. Sky, first appearance on the pod. Satsuki, you might as well just be regular. I don't know. This is like your fourth appearance or something like that. But...
Yeah. Anytime it's for this thing specifically, because I love these type of discussions. One of these days I'm gonna have to bring you, Choco, because we had to have a big discussion on Kakaguri, because I like doing it on series that don't get talked about. I like, being the pioneers for a series like this, because maybe people are interested in discussions which don't really exist for when it's not in Shonen Jump. It don't really happen. It don't really pop off like that. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in doing some other things, but appreciate you having me.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming, and also Sky, appreciate you coming as well, because it's first time and you spoke very well. I mean, I felt like I took some things that I hadn't seen from the series from what you had to say, so appreciate you
Thanks,
coming.
man.
Sure.
Okay. Well, as always, we got the podcast. It comes out a monthly basis, update on Spotify, weekly basis on a Monday. So that's how you can keep up to date with us, and also AK Watch. And before I close off, I just I don't know. Satsuki, he's got his YouTube channel, Satsuki the Savage. He's also got his gaming channel, Satsuki the Gamer. So subscribe to those if you haven't already. And also the Twitch, Satsuki the Savage. Streams weekly. So make sure you're following and subscribed there. Sky, do you have anything to plug? Any socials to plug? Sky. Okay.
Someone called me.
Oh, sorry.
Basically, I just have a Twitter account at the Dodo Hat. But that's basically it.
Okay, I'll link it in the description. All the links will be in the description. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day and peace.
Peace.
Easy.